Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we're diving into something, well, let's be honest, a lot of us have probably daydreamed about. Bam! Suddenly rich.
Yeah, like overnight wealth. Maybe you win the lottery. Maybe an investment just, explodes or a big inheritance lands in your lap.
It's the dream, right? But the reality could be pretty jarring.
Oh, absolutely. The stats are actually, well, shocking. Our sources show that getting rich quick often ends badly. We're talking financial ruin, losing friends, family problems.
Divorce, substance abuse.
Yeah.
It's a surprisingly dark picture. Why? Why does that happen?
It's basically a mismatch. You get this huge amount of money, but you have zero experience, like none, managing that kind of capital. Not legally, not emotionally. People just don't know what to do.
They treat the lump sum like income, maybe?
Exactly. And they forget about privacy. So our mission today, we're laying out the steps to become what we're calling stealth rich. How to actually keep the money, make it grow, not just, blow it all.
Okay, so where do we start? What's step one?
It sounds simple, maybe even paranoid, but it's crucial. Keep your mouth shut. Absolute silence.
Tell no one, really.
Uh.
Not even close family.
No.
Yeah.
One, privacy is everything. I get it, you want to scream it from the rooftops, but seriously, your best asset right after the money is just invisibility.
Okay, let's really hammer this home. The cost of not being stealthy. We have a story, right? Jack Whitaker.
Oh, yeah. Jack Whitaker, huge Powerball winner back in 2002, like $315 million. Biggest single ticket win at the time.
And he did the exact opposite of stay quiet.
The absolute opposite. Went public, cameras everywhere, interviews, became famous for being this super generous guy.
Giving money away left and right.
Constantly buying friends, cars, houses, gave millions to his church, handing out cash to strangers who asked. Just a fire hose of money.
And the outcome was not good.
It was tragic. His wife divorced him. Friends, they either disappeared or just kept asking for more. And his granddaughter, who he showered with money, sadly died from an overdose. He even said later, being too nice, too visible, it just destroyed everything. His money, his family, everything.
That's rough. And the sources mention this idea of people descending like vultures.
Yeah, once people smell money, the dynamic shifts completely. It's not just about being robbed, though that risk definitely goes up. Scams, lawsuits, blackmail attempts, it all skyrockets.
But it's more than just crime risk, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's about how people see you, how they treat you. There's this saying, money doesn't change you, it just reveals who you really are. Well, it reveals who everyone around you is, too.
The envy, the entitlement.
Exactly. It exposes all these cracks in relationships and people's characters, yours included, maybe. Staying quiet, being stealthy is the only way you keep control.
Okay, message received. Silence is golden. But surely you have to tell someone. You can't just sit on millions alone.
Right. One person. Your very first call needs to be to an attorney, and not just any attorney.
Not the family lawyer who did your will.
Definitely not. You need a specialist. Someone who lives and breathes trust and estate planning, specifically for, significant wealth.
But trust. People hear that and think taxes, maybe asset protection.
Both, yeah. It's huge for tax savings, potentially millions. But the privacy and protection aspect is just as vital, maybe more so, right at the beginning.
How so?
The money goes into the trust. It's legally owned by the trust, not you personally. So if someone tries to sue you, and believe me, rich people get sued for everything, the bulk of the assets are shielded. It puts a barrier between you and the vultures.
Got it. Okay, legal sorted. What about the job? Quitting is the big fantasy, right? Walk in, tell the boss off.
Yeah, the fantasy. Look, if you hate your job, if it's truly miserable, sure, quit. Absolutely. But you got to do it carefully, maintain that stealth.
But you're not saying just stop working altogether.
No, that's the key distinction. Don't quit working. Don't suddenly show up in a Ferrari the day after you win. Don't buy the mansion next week. Keep things looking normal for a while, at least 6 months.
Why is just stopping everything, being totally unemployed, so risky?
Honestly, being rich and bored is dangerous. Really dangerous. Money needs a purpose, a focus. When people suddenly have unlimited free time and cash,
Bad combo.
terrible combo. They get restless, they start spending like crazy just to fill the void, or worse, they jump into random businesses they know nothing about.
Like buying a restaurant because it sounds fun?
Exactly. Buying a restaurant, a franchise, whatever. They think having the money means they know how to run the business. Next thing you know, they're bleeding cash, maybe end up on one of those rescue shows. Capital isn't competence.
So this 6-month cooling off period, it's about more than just letting the shock wear off.
Yeah, it's about building a new routine, a new structure. Keep life normal-ish. Let the dust settle. Make a real plan. There's this idea, if you're working, you're not spending. It slows you down, prevents those impulse buys that can just decimate the principal.
Okay, that makes sense. Structure is key. Now let's talk immediate financial moves. Once the lawyer's involved and you're in that cooling off phase. Debt.
Yes. Before you spend a dime on fun stuff, you attack the debt. Specifically, high-interest debt. That's job number one for the money.
Why start there? Why not, buy the boat first?
Because paying off high-interest debt is literally the only guaranteed, risk-free return on investment you will ever get. Think about it.
Okay.
If you have a credit card charging you, say, 25% interest, paying that off is like earning a guaranteed 25% return on your money, tax-free, risk-free, instantly.
Right, you can't get that guarantee anywhere else. Not stocks, not bonds.
Nowhere. So credit cards, absolutely. Personal loans, maybe some car loans if the rate is high. Those go first. Usually anything over, say, 7 or 8% needs serious attention.
What about the mortgage? Paying off the house feels like the big goal for a lot of people.
It does. I get the emotional appeal. Owning your home free and clear, it feels secure, but financially. If it's what we call cheap debt, like a mortgage at 2%, 3%, maybe 4%, it often makes more sense not to pay it off immediately.
Really? Keep the mortgage? That sounds counterintuitive.
Well, think about it from a preservation standpoint. You have this large chunk of capital. If your mortgage is only 3%, but you can reasonably expect to earn, say, 5% or 6% or more by investing that same money conservatively over the long term.
Then you're actually making money by keeping the cheap debt.
Exactly. You're leveraging the bank's cheap money. Plus, inflation helps you too. If inflation is running at 3 or 4%, your real interest rate on that 3% mortgage is basically zero or even negative.
Okay, I see the logic. So, kill the expensive debt, maybe keep the cheap debt, and invest the difference. It's like hitting a financial reset button.
That's a great way to put it. Reset. You clear out those high-interest burdens and vow never to get back into that cycle again.
All right, now for maybe the toughest part. The people stuff. Family, friends.
Ah, yes. The social minefield. This is often where things really go off the rails.
Because when you get rich suddenly, especially if it's luck like the lottery, people close to you, they feel different about it, don't they?
They often feel entitled. Because in their eyes, you didn't earn it through years of hard work. It just sort of happened to you. So they feel like they deserve a piece.
And that leads to
The ask.
the ask. Loans, investments in their genius business idea that just needs a little seed money.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. And the advice here, blunt as it sounds, is crystal clear from our sources.
Let me guess. Don't do it.
Do, not do.
Yeah.
Lending money to friends and family is the absolute fastest way to destroy the relationship and lose the money. Full stop.
That sounds so harsh, though. Saying no to someone you care about.
It is harsh in the moment. There might be resentment, awkwardness.
Yeah.
But trust me, that temporary discomfort is so much better than the slow, painful death of the relationship that happens when you become their creditor. Arguments over repayment, constant tension. It's awful.
So just a flat no across the board.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's say someone you truly care about is in genuine need, not just wants a new car, but real need. There's an alternative.
You give them the money as a gift. Make it absolutely clear. Here, take this. I want to help you. This is a gift. Don't worry about paying me back.
So you remove the whole loan dynamic. No repayment expectation, no interest, no awkward follow-ups.
Exactly. It preserves the relationship. But, and this is critical, there's a condition.
What's the catch?
They can never ask again. You have to set that boundary firmly but kindly right then and there. I'm happy to help you this one time, but this is it. You need to figure things out going forward.
Why is that so important?
Because otherwise, you just become their permanent emergency fund, their safety net, their piggy bank. You actually stop them from learning to be financially responsible themselves. Sometimes, you have to be a little bit cruel to be kind, both for their sake and for your own sanity and security.
That's a really important distinction. Okay, so we've handled the external pressures. Let's talk internal temptation. The urge to spend.
Right. The consumer mindset trap. You see that big balance in your account, and all you can think about is what you can buy.
We had that example earlier, the friend's family who won the lottery.
Yeah, textbook case. Bought the huge $10 million house, Fancy cars, lifestyle instantly inflated.
And then,
Within 2 years, total chaos. Crushed by the taxes, the upkeep, the insurance, the staff for the house, all the hidden costs of being rich. They ended up desperately trying to sell that $10 million house for $6.5 million.
a $3.5 million loss just evaporated.
Poof, gone. All because they focused on spending the principal, not preserving it. They violated the golden rule.
Okay, what is the golden rule of sudden wealth?
It's simple but powerful. Never spend the principal, only spend the interest or the earnings growth.
Explain that, the money tree analogy.
Exactly. Think of your windfall, your principal, as a money tree. Your goal is to nurture that tree so it produces fruit every year. That's your income, your interest, your dividends. You live off the fruit. You never, ever chop down the tree itself for firewood.
Because the firewood only lasts a little while, but the tree can feed you forever.
Precisely. Spending the principal is chopping down the tree.
So how do you know how big your tree needs to be? How much principal do you need to protect?
That's where the freedom figure comes in. It's a crucial calculation.
How do we figure out our freedom figure?
First, you figure out how much annual income you realistically need or want to live the life you desire comfortably and sustainably. Cover all your bills, travel, hobbies, everything. Let's say, for example, you land on $200,000 a year.
Okay, $200,000 a year in income needed. Then what?
Then you multiply that number by 25.
Multiply by 25? Why 25?
That comes from financial research, often called the 4% rule, or based on the Trinity study. It suggests you can safely withdraw 4% of your invested principal each year, adjust for inflation, and have a very high probability of the money lasting indefinitely, like 30 years or more. And 1 divided by 4% is 25.
So $200,000 times 25, that's $5 million.
Yep. So in this example, $5 million is your freedom figure. That's the principal, the money tree, that you need to invest and protect. The goal is to live off the earnings from that $5 million without ever touching the $5 million itself.
That's a really clear target. Even for people just building wealth normally, that's a great goal to aim for.
Absolutely. Calculating that figure gives you a concrete savings and investment target.
Okay, so the mission becomes invest that $5 million freedom figure for preservation. Not necessarily for aggressive, risky growth.
Exactly. Your mindset shifts completely. When you have the money, the goal isn't getting richer faster. It's staying rich. It's about stability, certainty, protecting that principle above all else. You trade chasing high returns for sleeping well at night.
So how might someone invest that $5 million for preservation? Let's walk through an illustrative example. And obviously, this isn't financial advice, just an example.
Right, just for illustration. Okay, $5 million to preserve. First, a solid foundation. $1 million into a low-cost total stock market index fund.
Why an index fund? Not picking individual stocks.
Diversification and lower risk. An index fund owns a tiny piece of almost every company in the market. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, all the big ones, plus hundreds or thousands of smaller ones. It smooths out the bumps. If one company tanks, it doesn't sink your whole portfolio.
Yeah.
Historically, the broad market has averaged maybe around 9% a year long term, so that's potentially $90,000 a year from this chunk.
Okay, stocks for growth. What about safety? Markets go down sometimes.
Good point. You need ballast. So another $1 million goes into a low-cost total bond market index fund. Bonds are basically loans to governments or companies. They're generally safer than stocks and often move in the opposite direction. When stocks zig, bonds might zag.
So they cushion the blow during downturns.
Exactly. Provides stability, generates regular interest income. Let's say bonds average around 4% historically. That's another $40,000 a year.
Okay, stocks and bonds. What else? Diversification is key, right?
Absolutely. Need something outside of paper assets. So $1 million into real estate. We could split this. Maybe $500,000 into residential property. Could be a rental property or two, aiming for appreciation, which historically is maybe 7% a year.
And the other $500,000?
Maybe into commercial real estate, perhaps through a REIT or a direct investment. Commercial often provides steadier cash flow, maybe around 8%. So between the two, real estate might kick off another $75,000 a year, roughly. Plus, it's not perfectly correlated with stocks and bonds.
Makes sense. What about something a bit more adventurous, a small slice?
Yeah, you need a little something for potential high growth, the sort of moonshot allocation, but keep it small for preservation. Let's say $500,000, that's 10% of the principal into what we might call blue chip crypto, primarily Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Why only those?
Because they're the largest, most established, slightly less insanely volatile than the thousands of tiny altcoins out there. It's still very risky, high volatility, but you cap the allocation. Even with volatility, let's pencil in a normalized return maybe in the 10–15% range for this slice, so around $62,500 a year on average, understanding it will swing wildly.
Okay, so that's stocks, bonds, real estate, crypto.
Yeah.
We've allocated $3.5 million. What about the rest? Need some cash, right?
Definitely. Need liquidity and ultimate safety. The final $1 million goes into something super safe and liquid, like a high-interest savings account. Some online banks offer decent rates, maybe 4.5% right now, or short-term treasury bills.
So easily accessible, basically zero risk.
Exactly. This is your emergency fund, your buffer, your peace of mind money. Even at 4.5%, that's $45,000 a year with almost no risk.
Okay, let's add that up. If we combine the potential annual income from the stocks, $9K, bonds, $40K, real estate, $55K, crypto, $62.05K, and cash, $45K. What did that come to?
Let's see, 90 plus 40 plus 75 plus 62.5 plus 45. That's around $312,500 per year in passive income.
Wow, okay. So that easily covers the $200,000 lifestyle goal we set earlier, with plenty left over for taxes, reinvestment, or unexpected things.
Yeah.
But wait, you allocated $1 stocks, $1 bonds, $1 real estate, $500K crypto, $1 of cash. That's $4.5 million invested. What happened to the other $500,000 from our $5 million freedom figure?
Ah, good catch. That last $500,000. That's the fun money.
Fun money.
Yeah. You just came into a windfall. You have to scratch that itch, feel the reality of it. This $500,000 is designated for immediate gratification. Spend it now.
On whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Buy the fancy car, just one. Take the round-the-world trip first class. Get that piece of art. Renovate the kitchen. Get it out of your system. It's like a pressure release valve. It stops you from chipping away at the $4.5 million principal that's meant to last forever.
That's actually brilliant. A planned splurge so you don't sabotage the long-term plan.
Exactly. Satisfy the urge, then lock down the rest for preservation.
This has been incredibly insightful. As we wrap up, let's bring it back to the big picture. What is true wealth, really, if it's not just about fancy stuff?
It really comes down to freedom. The true definition of wealth is buying back your time. It's waking up in the morning and deciding how you want to spend your day every day.
Not having to answer to a boss you don't like, not having to do work that drains you.
Right. Not worrying about bills. Using money as a tool to create peace, security, and autonomy. That's the real luxury. The rich who stay rich understand this. They use money to buy time and options, not just Lamborghinis.
So once you've achieved that security, planted the money tree, got the legal stuff sorted, bought back your time, what's next? Is that the end goal?
Well, for personal security, yes. But then there's often a mental shift. Once you're secure, you can start thinking beyond yourself. The next question becomes, what kind of impact do you want to have? What kind of legacy do you want to leave?
Moving from preservation to purpose, maybe.
Exactly. Philanthropy, impact investing, supporting causes you care about. That often becomes the next chapter once your own oxygen mask is firmly secured. It's something for you, the listener, to think about once you're secure. What comes next?
Fantastic. Whether you hit that jackpot tomorrow or you're steadily building towards your own freedom figure over years, these principles, silence, planning, preservation, boundaries, are absolutely crucial. Thank you for joining us on The Deep Dive.